Eleanor Clayton, and I endorse this message.
Welcome to the luscious tropical island of Baezistan. Today, you'll be learning about the geography, history, and government of this unique land.
The site of several ancient civilizations, most notably the Bayou peoples, made famous by their mastery of gravology. The history of the Bayou started in the early 13th century with the wars between the Jair and Bayou people. After 100 years of conflict, the Bayou were able to conquer their coastal neighbor and set up a new capital of the nation of Bayou at the old capital of Jair. After 200 years of Bayou rule, this country was conquered and colonized by Cambria in the early 16th century. After years of colonial rule, Revolutionary General Manfred McCore was able to lead a revolution against the Cambrians in eventually reaching independence after 20 years of fighting in 1822. After independence, Manfred McCore established a monarchy with himself as the monarch.
Baezistan fell into a period of military rule and became extremely unstable.
After the death of McCore's grandson in 1888, the monarchy was dissolved and slavery was abolished.
Military rule was replaced by a democratic regime, but the military remained as one of the most stable aspects of this nation.
After independence and the abolition of monarchical rule, there was a collective consensus between the political factions of the country, leading to the creation of many institutions for the new government.
Over the next 80 years, Baezistan experienced a very peaceful time, as the economy boomed and political turmoil was nowhere to be found.
However, into the 40s and 50s, communism sprouted up in the Beanland, leading to a division of the country politically. The communists retained lots of power in the national government up until the 80s, when Donald Dagan took over the right section of the political process and led a reform against the communists.
In the years following, things have run relatively smoothly, but pressing problems still include income inequality, crime, inflation, and corruption.
Today we will look at the geographics of Baezistan. Starting with the south, we have the Bay of Babu, which is where most of the oil resources come from. Alright, next we have the beaches in the east, which is the center for tourism in Baezistan. Right here is where the main city on this eastern coast, Buenos Aires, is located. Alright, and this is where the capital city of Jair is located, in this bay here, which protects it from weather and invasions from outside countries. Here we are in the center of Baezistan, known as the Beanland. This is fairly underdeveloped, and it's where all the coffee and fruit is farmed in the country. And the Mook and Dale rivers have provided transportation of all these goods throughout the state, but there's not a whole lot of development just because there's rainforests and farms, and there's not a whole lot of cities in this area. Here's the fertile soil of the Beanland. All the coffee beans and fruits are grown in Baezistan.
Here we find ourselves on the banks of the Dale River, a 1,000-mile-long river that runs through the heart of Baezistan, from the capital city of Jair in the north, through the Beanland, and down to the southern hemisphere, where it splits into the Mook and Ern rivers.
Alright, and this mountain range right here in the west is known as the Noggin Peaks. It's fairly rural and there's not a whole lot of people that live here, but is where the central base for military operations in Baezistan.
Wow!
Baezistan has four main political parties that hold power in the state. You have the BBKs. They are your center-right political party. Their main issues are austerity and privatization of state industry. Then you have the BCP, no longer with any serious political influence. The Communist Party of Baezistan is not able to maintain seats in the upper house, severely limiting their political power. Then you have the Dan Party. They are the ultra-right nationalist party that is consistently able to get seats in the rural areas of the country. The dominant one, headed by Prime Minister Francis Poulsen, is the Mel Coalition. They, representing the left political wing of the government, currently lead a campaign to fight corruption and fight income inequality.
Baezistan is a bicameral legislature, led by the Prime Minister Francis Poulsen.
Francis Paulson was the son of a bean farmer.
And you are a Harrison Bean Marshall.
He grew up in the Bayou.
Here we find ourselves at the home of the Prime Minister, Francis Paulson. A member of the Mel Party, he had a rough childhood as he was the son of an immigrant coffee bean farmer.
This is the location of the lower house of legislature in Baezistan, known as the House of Trap. It has 420 members.
This is the Corn House, where Baezistan's upper legislature meets. It consists of 69 members, 9 from the capital city and 2 from each of the 30 districts, and they are elected by first-past-the-peas system. Good. The Supreme Court is known as the Council of Sheed. It consists of 12 members, with a Chief Justice named Scott Benruby.
Hello, I'm the leader of the Council of Sheed.
There are multiple sources of legitimacy in Baezistan. The first one being historical legitimacy. There hasn't been big political turmoil since 1888. And there's also been a history of great leaders such as Drew Jester and Skip Polson. They add to the charismatic legitimacy that we see today. There's also very high voter turnout, which shows that the people believe in the government of Baezistan. Am I done?
Baezistan has a relatively weak civil society, with most of the institutions being interest groups.
These interest groups represent business interests like oil and plantation crops.
Super neat.
The interest groups have led to major problems with corruption in the government and are the main part of the Guanxi patron clientele system.
Turn up.
Do you know about Baezistan's economy?
No.
Well, it's very diversified. It mainly exports oil, fruit, and coffee beans. And it's very reliant on them, but it's not a rentier state since it relies on multiple different natural resources.
Thanks for the info, Bean.
No problem. The government influences the economy from their import substitution policies and their many state-owned corporations.
Did you also know, Bean? Previous eras of military rule and monarchy after its independence created lasting corruption in the economy.
Wow, that's neat.
The state-run corporations operate in some sectors for oil and other manufacturing industries, but their hold is much stronger in oil.
The more you know. Baezistan is racially homogeneous and consists of 95% Bayou peoples. These are people that are ancestrally from the Bayou civilization early on in our country's history. Baezistan's flag predates colonial rule and goes back to the time when the Bayou peoples defeated the Jair peoples. There are 3 colors in our flag. One is orange, and it is of the Bayou peoples. The other one is yellow, and it represents the Jair people. And the middle one is teal, and it represents the beautiful blue waters our country has. Our flag also includes 2 palm trees and the word Bayou on it. Bayou represents civic pride, and the palm trees represent the influence the tropical environment has on our everyday lives and the economy. Our national animal is a proboscis monkey, which is found mostly in the beanland, and it serves as a companion to many of the rural farmers. It is, however, endangered and is protected by the country.
Bayou, 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 Bayou.
There comes a time in every Bayou's life that you have to make a choice. And that choice, it'll determine how the rest of your life will play out. And well, I'm here to tell you that you need to make the right choice. Make the right choice, and you will be a Bayou. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this tour of this wonderful country.
Goodbye, you.
Goodbye, you. Goodbye, you.
When I was just a little boy, I started to my daddy and me. My papa said, son, don't let the man get you and do what he done to me. Born on the bayou, born on the bayou, born on the bayou.
Hi, I'm Harrison Marshall.